Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I am thrilled to be joining by Canada International and Orlando Pride forward, Amanda Allen. Amanda, thank you so much for taking your time and joining me today. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually. How are you?
Very, very well. You know what? We're going to jump straight into things. There's plenty to talk about today. It's been a very busy time for you. It's almost end of the season. But how we got to the end of the season is that you signed a 3-year contract with Orlando Pride of April of this year, only a few months after turning
Yeah.
18. It
Yeah.
was initially thought that you were going to go to college in New York. We were unsure where Amanda's heading after high school, and we found out you're going straight to pro. Can you talk me
Yeah.
through how that process looked for you kind of after high school and looking to sign a professional contract?
Yeah. Love to keep people on their toes, so you never know what I'm gonna do next. Honestly, I've always wanted to be a pro since I was a kid. It was like my biggest dream. Watching players like Sinclair play, like it was huge for me. So I had gotten the opportunity to train with Orlando in March, and then I had gotten the opportunity to sign a contract with them, and I jumped at it because obviously it's been my dream. So um that's kind of how it went. It was amazing. It was a very big difference from obviously playing in League One with a Canadian program, and now pro playing with Marta, one of the best players in the world. So yeah, it was huge, but I'm more than happy that I made that decision, and
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
Why Orlando specifically? I know you mentioned that you trained for them before actually signing and kind of you got to test the club, but you've stressed on the environment and kind of really falling in love with the environment from the get-go. Was it the personnel, the players, their style of football, the program that they presented to you, or was it what exactly made it feel right that Orlando Pride was where you wanted to go for this?
Honestly, everything that you just mentioned, the environment, the players, the coaching staff, it was such a growth environment, since the second that I got there, everyone was so welcoming, everyone came up to me and was like, "Hey, how are you? Why are you here?" All that stuff, I felt super, super welcomed, and it felt like a home, like straight from the beginning, which I loved, and that's huge for me. I felt so comfortable with everyone. And yeah, as I said, it was such a growth environment. Like I feel
Mm.
like Orlando was somewhere where I could grow as a player immensely over the next few years. So yeah, it felt right. It felt like it was home for me.
It sounds like it was a very tough decision, but sounds like it was the right decision as well.
Yeah.
Has there
Yeah.
been challenges or obstacles, I guess, you've had to face moving from League One Ontario soccer to professional soccer, whether it's on the field or off the field, or just managing development in general?
I would say the physicality, the speed, and the level of play, there's a very, very big difference between that. So that obviously kind of shook me a little bit, but as soon as I was in the environment every single day, it became more natural for me. Just like the aggression, the speed, decisions, you have to make your decisions like two times quicker. It's very, very different. But yeah, as I said, just being in the environment every single day has helped me grow and has kind of closed that gap between me playing League One and then, going pro. So
Few weeks, like you mentioned, to kind of test the waters and really
yeah,
get that professional feel. And then you were able to make your debut. Can you tell me
yeah.
how you felt, I guess, when they looked at the bench and they're like, Amanda, you're coming on for your debut? Were you like nervous, scared? How were you expecting it? Were you told beforehand that it was going to possibly be this game that you come on for, or it just happened out of nowhere for you?
No, it kind of happened out of nowhere for me. It was huge. It was amazing. The crowd was loud and I was very, very nervous actually. Very nervous. Uh, it was crazy. I had went on, obviously we were one up against
Louisville.
Louisville. Yeah,
Mhm.
Louisville. And I was like, you get on this field, see if you can score another one. That was my mentality straight from the beginning, is like, can you make it 2-0, 3-0?
Mhm.
But yeah, just stepping onto the field for the first time as a professional athlete and playing with Marta, who's a player that I've looked up to since I was a kid, it was surreal for me. But it was crazy, but it was really, really good. It was great. Yeah.
Did your teammates throw some kind of celebration? We saw some videos afterwards of everybody cheering you on. Did you again feel that love from the players and support that even though that was kind of a big step for you, you knew you had your teammates kind of to lean on?
Yeah, dead on actually. Yeah, everyone was giving me hugs after saying congratulations. I felt like I was at home and Orlando is my home away from home now. So, it was great for me. It was an amazing experience to just feel so welcomed so quickly into a team. It takes years to build teams and I felt like I was at home from the second I got there. So,
For sure. And Orlando Pride has been home to huge names like Alex Morgan, Aaron McLeod, a fellow Canadian, Ali Krieger, and Marta, like you mentioned. And you coming on for that debut, you became the youngest player to debut for Orlando Pride. How do you
yeah.
feel knowing that your name is now in the history books of Orlando Pride for many years to come? Was that on the agenda list, I
It
guess, to
feels
actually get on the history
yeah.
books?
Yeah, always. Yeah, it felt great. And I'm obviously looking forward to making history with Orlando Pride over and over again for years to come. But yeah, it was great. Yeah.
We're going to switch gears a little bit here to international football. Last year was a very, very busy one for you with the youth camp and even this
Yeah.
year. But U17, CONCACAF, you're a huge part in being able to get a bronze medal for Canada. You scored a few goals, you got plenty of minutes. Did you
Yeah.
feel the pressures of, right, like you're getting plenty of minutes here at a big tournament? There was a medal on the line and you were important in capturing that medal. How did it feel knowing that you contributed that heavily for a medal for a big tournament for Canada?
Well, at the time that was like the highest level that I knew. So it was crazy to me. But I did any and everything possible to help my team, help lead my team to a medal to qualify for the World Cup. I feel like I tried to do my thing on and off the field and obviously help out my teammates to get us that bronze medal. It wasn't just me. I couldn't have done it without my teammates, the coaching staff, all the support that I had, the love that I had. So it was huge for me, but overall looking at it from a team standpoint, like it was amazing having the support and the love of everyone and we
Mhm.
fought for that medal together. So
And it was a very hot climate that you had to fight for.
yeah.
Very very similar to the World Cup a few months later, the
Yeah.
U17 World Cup in India. Certainly not how the team wanted to end off. It was a premature, really ending. I think on many standards. But you two were able to get a goal in that final game. You were named Canada Player of the Match. Did you? I guess a lot of the players started talking about feeling that World Cup pressure. Did that get to you at all, or was it because you guys were riding off the momentum of the CONCACAF? It didn't feel so much like that. Like I guess for a World Cup, your first ever World Cup, many more to come, I'm sure. How did that feel for you?
I would say there was a little bit of pressure, but I really tried to not let it get to my head because for me, I just feel like I try and play every game like it's just another game. If I think about it a little too much, then overthinking, I probably won't perform at my best. So yeah, during the World Cup it was huge, but I just tried to keep a calm, cool, collected head and just went out and did my thing. Yeah, it was a premature ending, you're right, and definitely not how we wanted to go out. There were emotions flying all over the place after the last game, but I was glad that I was able to help my team in the best way I knew how
Mhm.
um during that U17 World Cup. So
You talk composure and being calm. Not only are you known to be extremely pacey on the pitch and just brutal in front of the goal, but even Emma Humphreys came out and talked about some of the leadership qualities, which mentioned your name. Do you feel like you have that leadership quality when you enter at a youth camp or even Orlando, or is it kind of just something that comes within you?
I would say it kind of comes from within me and different environments. I'm a little quieter in other environments, like I speak up a little bit more. Um, I feel like I was able to step up in, you know, those last few camps leading up to the U17 World Cup, and I was able to speak and, you know, lead my team and help them out as much as I could on and off the field. So yeah, definitely came from within. There was a fire burning inside of me to, you know, get a medal for at CONCACAF and then to lead my team into the World Cup.
Yeah,
So
well,
it
you
was
stepped up
great.
and you impressed a very important figure that you always are looking to impress, obviously, with Beth Priestman, because you didn't even need that U20 experience. It was straight out of the U17. You get a call from Beth Priestman. Can you tell us how that went when you actually got the phone call? Were you expecting it at all? Were you like even training? Like how did that story plan out?
No, we were in the airport. I want to say it was Montreal
Uh-huh.
that we had just reached, and you know, she had said give me a call. That was my first time hearing from her, and I was so shocked. I was like, "Oh my gosh, mom, I'm nervous. Like Bev wants to call me." But yeah, I wasn't expecting the call at all, and she had let me know that I was coming in to the Brazil camp that following November, and it was crazy playing with you know, players that I've looked up to my entire youth career, and players that I wanted to be like, and obviously Christine Sinclair. It was crazy to me. I was just trying to soak all of it in from the second that I got there to the second that I left, you know, their habits on and off the field, obviously their composure on the ball, and yeah, just trying to better myself to get to that level. But yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Do you remember that first meeting with Christine Sinclair when you went into camp?
I had first actually seen her at the airport. So we had kind of all met in the airport, said
Mhm.
hi. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Christine Sinclair. Yeah, so it was crazy. From the second that I had met her, she's the most humble, funny human being ever. I just looked up to her. I've always looked up to her, and you know, just trying to soak up all of her professional habits to
Yeah.
take with me in my career. So
For those listening, also for a little bit of context, Amanda was born in 2005. So Christine Sinclair had actually already gone to a World Cup before Amanda even was
yeah.
actually born. So a little bit of context to just
Yeah.
how, we always talk about Christine Sinclair, obviously inspiring the youth and kind of that next level coming in. But we're talking about the talent of you, obviously going into camp. So just for our listeners, a little bit of kind of context when it comes to time. But Amanda,
Yeah.
that also camp, you were able to get your debut, your international senior cap. Did you ever
Mhm.
actually envision getting a cap with the senior team against Brazil at only 17?
No, I did not.
Did it go
Yeah.
to your expectations in some ways?
Yes, it did. You know, we won that game 2-1, and it was crazy. It was amazing, you know, when my name was called, I was like, "I'm going in. I, you know, I need to step up, need to impress." And
Yeah.
I feel like I did my absolute best on that field to, you know, keep my team to 1 up. So
Yeah.
it was really good.
Well, I mean, I think you did do very well. And Beth Priestman even came out and said I don't know if you hold the reference, but she was talking about how she sees you as kind of the next Janine Becky of the Canada team, and that, you've got so much potential and the ceiling is so high. When you go into the international camp, obviously it's a little bit intimidating just because of the figures around you, but are you given that confidence to reach those heights in that environment?
Yes, for sure. I feel like just being around players like Christine Sinclair, Janine Becky, and whatnot is huge for me, and that alone, you know, makes me think to myself, you know, you're here for a reason, so you know, show it. Obviously, I want to follow, you know, in their footsteps and do the amazing things that they've done. So, yeah, I definitely have that confidence when I'm there to just, you know, do my thing, stay calm and composed, and you know, mistakes are gonna happen, but you live and you learn. So, just you know, keeping my head up always.
You've been to a few camps already with the international team. There's, like I mentioned, plenty of veterans. Are there specific lessons that you've taken that you've already really honed in with your skill set that you took that away from camp and you're like, yes, this is absolutely it. That is going to be a huge lesson moving forward.
Always have a notebook at meetings. I would say just, you know, always writing down, whether it's like point form, whatever it is, just, taking things with you, even if it's little things.
Hmm.
That's definitely been huge for me. And then watching back film, whether it's training, games, whatever it is, just so you can really see for yourself what it is that you needed to work on, or if you could have been in a better position, or whatever it is in that moment, seeing it from a different view.
Hmm.
So just a lot of self-reflection is probably what I've taken from it, because before I was getting a lot of minutes, I felt like I had good moments and bad moments, but when the minutes are now limited, it's like you want to make the most of the time that you do have on the field. So I think a lot of self-reflection is what I've learned from just being around the best of the best. So it's been great.
It is the best of the best. I think you mentioned both Marta and Sinclair, but there's not many players, especially that young of an age, that say they play with Marta or train with Marta on a daily, and then
Yeah,
also
yeah,
Sinclair on occasion. How much have you
yeah.
been able to sharpen your game as an attacker, working with arguably some of the best goal scorers in the game, working with them for, I'd say, about a year, since Sinclair and Marta together?
For me, just watching them alone has been huge. Just watching their composure on the ball and their skill to finish has been amazing. I have so much to learn from both of them with the little time that I do have left. But it's been great, and I feel like I'm taking those lessons with me and implementing them into my development, which is amazing. Obviously training with Marta every single day is like some goals she scores, you're like, how did she do that? And it's crazy, but yeah, I think it's huge for me that I get to train with Marta every single day, and she's such a humble human, and I just love being around her, and her positive energy. It's amazing. So
I feel like a lot of people do always talk about just how positive she is, like how hungry she drives on the team. Is that like a mentality
yes.
thing you're also trying to soak up from her?
Yes, 100%. We have a huddle every single game before the game starts, and she's always feeding her passion into us, and it's amazing. Just listening to one of the best to ever play tell you about how much we need this, how much she wants this, how much everyone wants it. It's amazing.
I feel motivated already just listening to you. And I'm not
Yeah.
even in that huddle. But that is fantastic. I think that's definitely, like you mentioned, you look at an environment, a development environment, one that you're learning things off the pitch, on the pitch. It sounds like Orlando Pride is exactly giving you what you need here, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, for
100%.
sure.
We've got some few questions here, a little bit off the soccer, but a few fans have sent in some
Yeah,
questions. The first
for
one, and
sure.
a very important one here. How do you take your Tims?
My Tim Hortons order. Oh, okay. So I'm kind of boring. I drink hot chocolate. So I get hot chocolate with, extra whipped cream, and then I have a plain croissant heated. Um, so very, very boring, but it's so good in the morning, especially if you're driving to early morning practice. It's amazing. So
You know what? It's October, so I feel like a hot chocolate is a pretty locked in answer.
yeah.
Another one we have here is Florida weather or Canadian weather.
I'm gonna say Canadian weather all the way, and I think that's because I've lived in Canada my entire life. It is very hot. It is very sticky here. I like being able to put my hoodie on, my hat on, just be
Right.
bundled up and warm. And
Hmm.
here it's just, if you put a hoodie on and you go outside, you're gonna be sweating the next 5 seconds. So
Wow, was not expecting that answer. I feel like when we saw that, it was like she's gonna go for a hot Florida weather, and I was like, I don't know. I feel like if you've lived with the snow for a while,
yeah, no.
you become accumulated to that. One last
Yeah.
one here, Amanda. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years from now. Damn.
A big
Loaded
question.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, I would say whether it's still playing for Orlando or overseas somewhere, I just see myself doing the things that I've always dreamed of as a little kid. 5 years from now will have been another World Cup, so playing in that World Cup, um being considered one of the best players in the world, um that's definitely my goal within the next 5 years is I develop here in Orlando and then, wherever that takes me afterwards. So.
Well, Amanda, I think you're certainly on that pathway. A lot of praise from the Canadian camp, a lot of praise from the NWSL and Orlando Pride folks. I'm afraid we're slightly running out of time here, but I really do greatly appreciate you joining me. And I'm sure you're going to be hopefully storming it up very, very soon with Canada and with Orlando. For those who are watching before the end of the season, NWSL, big, huge game on Sunday. Do you want to tell us a few, I guess, statements on why people should be tuning in for Sunday, the final game? Hopefully, it's going to
Um,
be a clinch.
yes, preparation's been huge, and I feel like, tune in, watch us do our thing on that field and
There you
clinch
go.
that spot. So, yeah.
Clinching that spot
Thank you
on the
so much.
final on the final home game Sunday. Everybody tuning in. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me today, and best of luck moving forward.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.